Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh!
Be proactive. But again, when we talk about Black history, the bottom line is that it really should be in every classroom.
This is fantastic.
The community were to be more involved.
I would like to see teachers, people in the education system, more involved in the community.
People, like students, would be interested in.
It's a day of freedom.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tom Tackey. I'm the audio production teacher at Central Union High School and also the executive producer of Valley VibeZ. Today we have a very special Valley VibeZ as a result of the Black History Month episode that played a couple of weeks ago. Valley VibeZ usually limits the amount of adult voice in our episodes. Our overall focus has always been on the student voice as they relate to culture, arts, music, and happenings here in the Imperial Valley. However, our students' voice on the Black History Month episode resulted in a local community agency to contact the Central Union High School District Superintendent's office to voice concerns over the programmatic and curricular offerings for Black History Month in the Central Union High School District. The result of that contact was a decision to bring Mrs. Marlene Thomas from the Imperial Valley Social Justice Committee, Dr. David Farkas, Superintendent of the Central Union High School District, and our student panelists from the Black History Month episode together to discuss how Black history is taught, programmed, and generally treated in our local schools. With that said, I'd like to turn this over to Dr. David Farkas.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. David Farkas. I'm in year 2 of the superintendency at the Central Union High School District, and I can't say what a privilege it is to be. It's incredible to be the superintendent of our fine district, and even more so today to have such a special guest and be part of this podcast with our student panel. I think it's really important that we continue our messaging that gets out to our community. So it's with great pleasure to introduce Ms. Marlene Thomas, Chief Executive Officer and founder of the Imperial Valley Social Justice Committee, and welcome her and thank her so much to come to our school to participate with us today, Marlene.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Marlene, I'm like Dr. Tackey had said, the adult voice isn't part of the podcast usually, so having a special guest is more important than the superintendent dominating a podcast. So I just wanted to say thank you again. And can you just kind of open up by telling us a little bit about the committee, the Social Justice Committee, and how the nonprofit organization engages our students in their voices and our community?
Yes, thank you very much, and really, indeed, it is a pleasure to be here. And I've engaged somewhat with Dr. Tackey in the past, and he's a little bit aware of some of the things that we do. And of course, Miss Lynch, she's been outstanding in her communication. And Imperial Valley Social Justice Committee, I'm worse. We started in around 2014, we were trying to get some of us nonprofits together and individuals because so much was going on in our county, not just El Centro, in our county, from law enforcement in terms of harassment and even some leading to death. And in that particular case, it was, and this is all true story, you can look it up probably even on the internet. Charlie Sampson on the east side, family man, retired. They stopped him, and whatever they went through, 3 or 4 hours, and he became very ill. Family said, we need to get him to the doctor. Cut that story short because of time. One of the police officers called the dispatcher and said, ignore that request. okay, to send out medical service to him. 2 hours later, he's gone. I'm trying to think of the town. Mecca, 17-year-old, going to pick up his girlfriend in Salt City. He had graduated and was planning to go to college. To this day, no one really knows what happened to him, but he was stopped by El Centro City Police. He was, on this one, stopped by the Imperial County Sheriff Department, and life gone, okay? And I'll just do one more. There's really much more of this. It was really horrible things that were going on. Imperial, Yancey, Tommy Yancey, it's coming through. He is a veteran, and he had what do you call postpartum. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he was stopped by the city police, and then the CHP came, put the dog on him. He's gone, you know. And so it's been many more. So it was just so much pain going on, and so much, and at this time it was a distribution from the law enforcement. So anyway, we decided to, you know, we got together. It didn't last very long, maybe about 6, 7 of us. But one thing came out of that committee was the Black Lives Matter movement, you know, and we engaged in. I'm not Black Lives. I mean, I'm a member of it now. I mean, but I didn't stop. And then our group, Imperial Valley Social Justice. So when you talk about the involvement of youth, there's only 2 of us that are over the hill, and that's me and the other person. And that's the good thing. Let me pass this out. That's the good thing about our organization. We're not trying to, we know that the future, you guys are the future. And if we don't impart our knowledge and information, not to sway you one way or the other, but we have to be very objective and all. And that, okay, you can pass that out. Anyway, youth is our focus. And you can kind of see a little spectacle of them there and all.
Marlene, will you tell us a little bit more about how you basically bridge to our youth so the students can learn more on how to become involved?
Well, one way you can become involved now is to our office information is on there, and as well as our telephone number. You can call us. We do internships. Matter of fact, we had a magnificent project, an oral history project of African Americans in Imperial County last April, and it was displayed at San Diego State University, and it was. It was the most attended exhibit at Sterling City that they ever had.
Wow!
You know, at the board. So, and as again, Black organization, if you want to call it, but we really also refer to us as a people organization. We do in January. We do an annual Martin Luther King celebration. It's called the Stone of Hope. It's one of the most preeminent. It is the most preeminent multicultural award here in Imperial County. How many of you have heard of it?
I have not.
This is why this little gathering is necessary.
It was one of the things I first learned about. All of our governing board members, our trustees, go to it every year to support the cause. Yeah, absolutely.
And last year, also with I can't remember the names here at the school district, they had displays of African Americans, local, we're talking about local now, that have contributed, and most of them attended Central High School. Did you see that?
No.
See, those are like little gaps and stuff, and you know, think about some things like that. How can you improve that? Maybe instead of just placing them in the library, maybe that was not. And then we also went to Southwest,
right.
And it wasn't just here, and that was for a whole week. And
you took the Jimmy Cannon picture to SDSU, right? Is that where you?
Yes, it was.
That's when I learned. Not only did I learn about Jimmy Cannon from the hard work that he and his wife did, Maxine, to grow awareness and to really provide service and support to our students. But then I learned that the theater was our wonderful theater at Southwest is named after him, and his picture's still in there right now.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question, because this came about from Black History. How many of you are aware that Jimmy Cannon was an African American? Sort of, kind of, not
Like,
really.
I just
You couldn't
kinda
really speak
figured.
up. See, these are the things that are important, and this was something that I had even before the podcast. I come on campus, and I see Jimmy's name all over the place.
Right.
I need to see Jimmy's face, okay? Because Jimmy can be anybody.
Right.
And all, because he's part of history, and obviously great history. I went to Calexico High School, right? but anyway,
We don't mind bulldogs. We really don't.
So, he's a part of history, but you have no knowledge that this man is an African American. That's crazy. Same with the auditorium. What do you call it? Auditorium?
The Jimmy Cannon Theater?
Theater.
Yep.
I want to call it for
So if you're a student at Southwest, you walk into that theater for multiple reasons, including to watch presentations, and you see Jimmy right away. His face is kind of the feature of it all. But for Central, you're right, Marlene, we don't really have a bridge to learning more about Jimmy's and his wife's, Maxine's commitment.
Right. So, and not mentioned was, Donald Walker. I mean, that's a long time ago, but he was the first, and to my first African-American counselor here, and they tested him. I mean, he started the Black Student Union and everything else, but he survived and retired and still living,
We have a football field that's called Cal Jones Field out back
man,
here.
and you got a football field that's named after Cal Jones. Did you know he was African American?
Yes. I
Okay,
know.
well, yeah, football, yeah, okay. but and that's important to know, because believe it or not, there was one time the population was like this, okay? It was 25-30% African Americans in Imperial County. And if you go back, I don't know, even in yearbooks, outstanding in sports, three even went to the, football, went to the Super Bowl, So you have a lot of history from students here at Central as well. So, should I wait?
No.
Oh, okay. So anyway, just a little brief, because I could probably run my mouth. I'm more of a talker than a presenter, to be honest, and all. So that again, that's really why it's very important, and it's important for you guys to know, and the interaction that you have, and the more you learn. But let me say this, because before I forget. After I'm even gone, research. Look at it. Research. It is astounding, even to me. To me, the most resilient people on this earth are Black people. And why do I say that? I say that because when we start looking at 1619, okay, and what our ancestors had to go through. And then you have some people want to say, oh, they're happy-go-lucky. How can you be happy-go-lucky when you're getting whipped and cut? Pregnant women turned upside down, cut in their stomach. I said even recently sometime I was misspoken. If I was there, I wouldn't do that. I would be jumping up as high as I could and say, yes, sir, master. What else you want me to do, master? Because it was that brutal. And there was no humanity in it. And so... And I remember, again, I went to school in Calexico. I remember when they got to history. See, this is history. When we got to history, it was always a slave with a cotton sack. Okay? So that was a time for me, because in those days, it was not, I don't want to go to school, I can't go to school, I'm sick. We had no options but to go to school. But I had one option, and that was to try to get under that desk. Okay, that was my little option. So how can I say this? Study, learn. Don't take what I say. Okay, I swear, don't even take what I say. Research, look it up. Knowledge. During slavery, we couldn't read. It was the kiss of death. If they caught you, and imagine this. Here's a little candle, and they got a little thing late at night. I can't see now, and they're trying to learn to read. And you know what? They did. Not everybody, but they did, and they passed it on. And that was a good thing too about during that time. They passed it on. They shared, and even in your life, pass on knowledge, and share, and participate. So anyway, I'm gonna stop. That's what social justice is about: is civic engagement. Mm-hmm.
So, to anyone tuning in, we've been listening to Marlene Thomas from the Imperial Valley Social Justice Committee and Superintendent David Farkas of Central Union High School District. And they've been talking about the opportunities they have for student involvement in various community activities relating to Black history here in the Valley. So we're going to hand it back to them.
And it's very important. How many are eligible to vote? I mean, to vote?
Yeah.
You?
I am. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Civic engagement, voting rights. They're not just trying to stop people on the East Coast and the southern states. They're trying to stop the whole nation from voting. Vote. Okay? It's important for you to vote. Because if you don't vote, you may not have a school tomorrow, no funds to come in. It affects you in a lot of ways. You may not have a Cal Jones football field, or, and you can go on and on. So that's another part of civic engagement. And I don't know if your school has a project like where you can go out and volunteer at different places, but even if you can't, even if they don't, we have a lot of good organizations around here in the Valley, a lot of good ones. So you can go, and they love volunteers, trust me, and maybe you can even get credit for it, okay? But again, when we talk about Black history, the bottom line is that it really should be in every classroom, even if it's not in the books yet. The teachers who are teaching Black history should, I better back up on that one. That's a personal opinion. I mean, just like I'm telling you, you should go out and research and share and do it. That's the same way with the teachers, particularly history teachers. And I don't know if we teach civics anymore, but they should do that as well. Question: do anyone know the general in Mexico who became president? I'm trying to think of his name myself right now. No one knows?
Porfirio Diaz.
Who?
Porfirio Diaz.
I can't hear you.
Porfirio Diaz.
No, not that. I can't even believe I can't think of his name, because sometimes I'm pushing it on people that we're having conversations.
Well, Marlene, I believe there are students on this campus that probably know that, because we, coming off of what you just said, we're very proud of our school district, especially our instructors that have now, we're entering year 2 of our ethnic studies program. So we're ahead of the curve on implementing ethnic studies as a course, and now we're entering year 2 already on infusing those elements into our curriculum.
Okay, I'm gonna look. Would you do it? Because I'm not good at that.
Sure.
Just African American president of Mexico. It was a general. His father were slaves. You have to understand that the slave trade didn't just come only to America.
It was Vincent Guerrero.
Say it again.
Vicente?
Oh,
Vicente Guerrero. Golly, yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So how many of you knew that?
I did not.
So that's why, of course, I'm talking about Black history, but it's important of history period.
That's right.
and all. I mean, you didn't know it, right? And you're getting ready to graduate, some of you.
Yeah.
What you don't know is why don't be dependent upon a classroom or even a teacher or anybody to do that. And I'm going to take you back into slavery time when they were trying to learn how to read, learn to do. So you have to have your own initiative too. Okay, and that's very important. have their own initiative. So yeah, Vicente Guerrero, God, I cannot believe I forgot his name. Some of the things they've done with Vicente, because they called him the black something or other. I got to read that myself. They always referred to him as a black whatever.
A black Indian.
What is it?
It was a black Indian president.
Probably so. My mind is not as sharp as it should be today. I didn't say like it used to be. But yeah. But what they did with even some of his pictures, he's standing up there with his little uniform on and all that and everything. And what they do, or what they did back in those days, they would highlight the picture so he wouldn't appear as dark. But that hair got him every time, you know. So those are things. History is just very, very important, you know. And we also do, and hey, then we got some things coming up. We also do Asian Pacific Heritage Month, and we're going to have another big program. I was not aware that we had so many Asian and Hawaiian people in Imperial County.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, some of those things that we've done is in our Facebook, and we had a big Korean choir. Can you believe that? And, you know, I mean, and I tell you what, very disciplined people, golly, and their children, you know, and music. They perform for us and all. So it's a lot going on in the Valley, and I really wish. Now I'm going to say this, Superintendent. To me, I would like to see teachers or people in the education system more involved in their community. You can go right now to any of your teachers, and probably they don't know zero about nothing we're talking about. Okay, there's very low. This is truth. There's very low participation, and I think that also affects the. I don't know if you have, what the curriculum or how they teach you and inform you. You know, so that's again I'm saying, be proactive, and just pray that. That the education system become more involved in the community as opposed to whatever their
So, Marlene, we like I've said, we have significant progress in our ethnic studies curricula.
Mm-hmm.
We have celebrated, along with the Southwest High School and Desert Oasis High Schools, the Black History Heroes of the Community. That's where I learned a lot about the community last year, including Mr. Jimmy Cannon. And we've been proud of the momentum we've had to bring in more culture into our campuses. And we all obviously have had started up these podcasts. When you reached out, could you tell us a little bit more about when you reached out and why you reached out so that we could move forward with this podcast?
Certainly. I didn't feel it, and only you all can answer this. I didn't feel that you received anything in depth to take out that door. And you were talking about Black history. That's what I felt. And the response from the people that were with you on at that podcast, their answers was, God, I was very surprised. Because why was I surprised? Every year even when I was much younger, let's say 30, 40 years, there's always been Martin Luther King annual celebration. For the past 30 years, there's also been on that actual holiday a reenactment on the courthouse steps here in El Centro. And now we walk from the pavilion to the courthouse steps. and we have speakers, music, and then the reenactment of "I Have a Dream." Okay, these are things that go on every year, even before I start getting involved. And every year we do something for Black history.
So, to anyone tuning in, we've been listening to Marlene Thomas from the Imperial Valley Social Justice Committee and Superintendent David Farkas of Central Union High School District. And they've been talking about the opportunities they have for student involvement in various community activities relating to Black history here in the Valley. So we're going to hand it back to them.
This, you should not miss what I'm getting ready to tell you. June 15th, school's out, I guess. It's June 15th. We're having Juneteenth celebration. Stop, Marlene. Anyone know what Juneteenth is?
No.
Oh
I feel
my
like
God.
I've heard of it, but I don't really. Yeah.
I just don't know like what it means.
You don't, okay, real simple. June, and we call it Juneteenth, okay? And you know what, and this year is going to be actually on Juneteenth. That's, real good. Yeah, and on June 15th, it's going to be held, it's outgrown where we usually have it on the east side at the community center. We're going to hold it at the Martin Luther King Pavilion, okay? So keep that in mind and come out. It's fun, and we're just come out, okay? Just come out. What most people don't know, Juneteenth is this. Let me start. When the Emancipation Proclamation came about, freedom of the enslaved people, the last state in the Union to get notification was Texas. Okay, and you know how long it took for them to get that information to them? Just take a wild guess. We don't have cars. We don't have. We had little foot soldiers and horses and stuff. Okay, it took them 2.5 years. 2.5 years from D.C. on and hitting the little Maryland and those little states. Took them 2.5 years. So they're still enslaved during this time, okay? And the guy, General Granger, came in there on June 15th. And 2.5 years later to inform them that they were now free, okay? And so with dialect or whatever, so that's when the big celebration started, okay? I think it was 1865, I believe, in all. In Texas, for the longest time, it's been a state holiday and all. But finally, Biden in 21 made Juneteenth a national holiday.
So, to anyone tuning in, we've been listening to Marlene Thomas from the Imperial Valley Social Justice Committee and Superintendent David Farkas of Central Union High School District. And they've been talking about the opportunities they have for student involvement in various community activities relating to Black history here in the Valley. So we're going to hand it back to them.
It's a day of freedom and fun and activities and stuff. So, can you...
And although we continue to find ways to educate our students in our school with our ethnic studies and our Black history opportunities, our Public Information Officer, Fernanda Lynch, has done a good job of building those bridges so that when we have these kind of celebrations, we can get it out to our students through various outlets, especially our social media. So we're really proud and thankful that you say this so that we don't miss these opportunities.
So adding on what you said about the Juneteenth, I think it's actually very nice that like this activity is being brought up here because for me it was what I wanted like for Black History Month to like bring up was like for people to come up with a community activity because I know like since we're in the border with Mexico, there's a like Dia del Grito, right? And like personally, like we go because it's like Mexican and like I see little shops, people selling like ponchos and Mexicans, and I really loved your bracelets right now, and I was like, I think it's so important if like people include like, but it's on us to go to like and look for that information to be able to come up with a community activity and an event, you know, to like promote the Black History Month, because I know there's also one for like I wouldn't like, I really don't know the word, but like special ed kids, and there's like a walk around the whole park, and I went to that one too, but I didn't know about it until my uncle brought it up, and because he participates in it and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know. So it, like a lot of stuff like the community doesn't know about, you know, but like if the community were to be more involved and like on the news and like in schools, if they brought a flyer, like, and if like teachers announced it, like people, like students would be interested, you know, because I know that Law Academy, they help in events, they helped in the Mardi Gras, and like that's when like the students they get involved, and then their friends get involved, and then like their families get involved. I think that's how it starts, you know. So I think it's very important if like we reached out like and we got more involved as a community, and then that's when students would be more like knowledge in that.
Knowledge, you know, even if they decide, you know, a lot of things go on, so they can even choose where they want to go, just to become aware of what's going on and on. That's an excellent. I mean, that's an excellent point. You know what? There are so many artists here in the Valley. It blows my mind. I don't know if you guys know that. I mean, young artists and stuff, and all. And I just went to two of our students, student volunteers. Let me put that correct, not students. They applied for this Far West, Far North grant or something last year. It's $45,000.
Nice.
And then they come up with a little extra for $8,000 that they got a little later on, and about 16 people in the Valley received it, and they'll be coming out with their they call it a campaign in May and stuff. I'll let you guys know. I'll let the school know, and I'm gonna get, and you guys could call one of those numbers and leave your name and number and stuff. I'm talking about young people like you guys and stuff. But if you don't know, here we go. If you don't know, and all.
And that's the power of our student-led clubs and organizations. You don't have to be a specific club to organize an event that benefits everyone and provides knowledge, like a Black History message, right? You could be any club. And social media can be looked at as a negative sometimes, but it also could be the people that are on social media sharing and saying, these are opportunities we can't miss. And I think that's where our students can continue to grow. I think we've got the right, we've got the right momentum.
And let me say this, and then I don't know how long we have, but let me say this, is that let's talk local. Let's go back to Black, okay? The African Americans. You see, sometimes, and particularly when you're in an environment where you're really the minority in the population, things affect you, and you feel it differently and stuff. But if you know your history, God dang, if you know your history, honest to God, you'd be so proud. El Centro, Blue Angels. Du Bois McGee literally brought the Blue Angels and responsible for the Blue Angels coming to the Valley 55 years ago. He did so much from a little poor border town, Du Bois McGee.
Marlene, as we get close to wrapping up here, I'd like to have you sign a teaching contract with us. No, actually, we want to thank you. I want to ask the students, what did we, I mean, that was a lot of great information and something to continue to build our momentum at our schools. We have young ladies with us today. Do we have any real good takeaways that we're going to say, that's some good stuff we're going to move forward on?
I mean, there was a lot of stuff that she said that I didn't really know. Me as a Mexican, like, that stuff was new to me. I didn't really know what that meant, or like that culture. Like, there's something important that should be like coming out where students or adults or any person or people should know about this, because it's actually really interesting to know stuff that we didn't know.
I agree. I was like really surprised by all the things that they're doing, like the whole Martin Luther King reenactment. Like, I had no idea that any of this stuff was happening in our small town, you know, and it's because, like, nobody speaks up about it, and it's not, like, really presented.
Yeah,
For me, I don't really have social media, so I can't see it. So I would love to see flyers or some school, like, engagement and stuff like that. And I'm definitely going to talk to my peers about this because I'm sure they'd be interested in it, too.
This is fantastic. We can get information as we continue to work together as partners, and then our students could spread the news, and then we could really boost up the awareness and the connection. What about anyone else?
Like for the the
The
NAACP.
Or just anything taking from our time with Marlene, what our next steps could be, our big moments here. What can we do next? What do we take away from this opportunity? I love the idea of spreading the news because oftentimes it's just that no one had the idea that it was happening. So we can really increase our involvement for sure.
And we haven't, we're taking over, I hate that we're taking over, we're going to be doing the African American exhibit at the Pioneer Museum. And we're getting ready to revamp that a little bit. And hey, we have volunteers. We do a lot of things.
Wonderful.
And also.
And how would we sign up for that?
With me, or call the office. The office number, it is on there, isn't it? On the first one, 44.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just leave your name and phone number. And like being here today, I didn't even know about a podcast, and that's a great thing that you're doing too, because it's another way of increasing awareness and even learning about what's maybe happening in your city or resources and all. Now I'm gonna reveal something. People you know won't care, but for the rest of them, I'm going to reveal something. We're working right now. Oh, God, it's going to make me talk. We're working on right now, Juneteenth. Real quick, do you know how Juneteenth came about? It's okay if you don't know. That's as good. It's like when you raise your hand, you don't know if you should raise your hand because you feel dumb answering a question. No, that's the only way you're going to get the answer.
Right.
Okay?
That's right.
Okay, so this is real quick, 30 seconds. Opal Lee. Okay, Opal Lee. She's called the grandmother of Juneteenth. Okay, born in Marshall, Texas. Back then, they burned the house down. Anyway, she ended up in Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, she got her education. You know, she's a teacher. She retired at 87. When she was 94, she walked from Fort Worth, Texas, okay, to D.C. Does that make sense to you guys?
That's a long.
That's a walk.
That's a walk, 14 of them.
Wow.
And how they did it, and how she did it, every day she walked 2.5 miles.
Oof.
Oh, for
Okay.
like practice.
And then somebody come pick her up, take her home, and go see. But you know, after a while, they couldn't take her home. So along the way, they created little, people that let her get some rest and stuff.
Wow.
And she met with the president and all them. And anyway, Biden in 21 signed made Juneteenth a federal holiday. So one of the things we're going to be doing there, it's in the planning. We do have now have a Opal Lee 2.5 award. Okay, that's for those 2.5 miles that she walked every day, and when we don't even want to walk a block, but she did that. Cross your fingers. If you believe in prayer, pray. If you believe in yourself, pray. And because we're working with Opal Lee right now to bring her out here for this event. And she's 96 years old.
She's going to fly, not walk, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, she might be 2 miles away.
She might be doing walking.
Yeah, so we're
That's great.
Yeah, we're working with them now.
Okay, well, we'll be there. We'll be there.
So anyway, if for nothing else, come on out,
Absolutely.
Look it up. And the last thing for you guys to know is the NAACP. Back in the day, was just very, very active. Again, civil rights organization. And you know why we're all sitting here at this table right now? Because the schools were segregated. No Mexicans and no blacks. Okay? And the NAACP national office, which you guys are going to look at, their program, and our local office here sued the state of California. And that's why Washington School is so significant and stuff. And Washington School and Douglas High School were the last schools in the state of California to desegregate it. That's how bad they wanted to keep it. And then we had that in Brawley as well. In Imperial, there's an old, I don't know if you know this, that it was a Dunbar High School, elementary school in Imperial. Have you heard of that one?
No.
No, it was segregated school in Imperial. If you go down that little, see when you get to the intersection there, and you make a left and a right, that frontage road, and you go straight down, I think it's 600 something. The building is still, the structure is still there, and all, of Dunbar High, and yeah, and all. And so, and even Little Calapat, big community, I mean, back there. You had 2 black churches in Calapat. Well, now we only need one, but you had 2 black churches in Calapat, and you had 2 segregated schools. One Bonita and something else. One was for the Mexican kids, and one was for the black. All this stuff was here in the valley, except my great city of Mexico. But anyway, that's really about it, and all. So when you think about the schools, like I said, in Imperial County, the segregated, they were segregated. We, like I said, no blacks and no brown. In Central, here, Imperial, Raleigh, and Calapat. So again, Marlene Thomas, and vote. I'm telling you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Yes.
Thank you.
for joining us.
Yeah.
And now that things are wrapping up in the studio, I would like to thank Miss Marlene Thomas and Dr. David Farkas for their time, as well as you, the ladies, gentlemen, and other distinguished members of the audience, for yours. Thank you for listening to Valley VibeZ. Now, before we close things out, I would like to reiterate the importance of getting word about community events out there, because as you've heard from our students, there are community events that they would have liked to participate in, be it attending for fun or helping to set things up, that they had no idea about and thus couldn't really, volunteer for them. I, for one, had no idea that every Martin Luther King Day there was a recreation of the I Have a Dream speech. And if I had known about that, I likely would have attended, a few of them to see what was up, because that sounds interesting. And now that I do know, maybe I'll attend the next one. So again, if you have something going on in the community, we encourage you to get word out there. Social media, flyers, whatever. Because if you don't know about something, how on earth are you going to participate in it? And just a quick reminder that Valley VibeZ has its very own email address for any sort of ideas that you would like to submit for your very own episode of Valley VibeZ. It is valleyvibez@gmail.com. That is valleyvibez@gmail.com. I've been Daniel Montoya. I've been taking a bit of a backseat this episode, but I promise you I will be back Sunday, 9 a.m. next week. Thank you very much, ladies, gentlemen, and other distinguished members of the audience. This is Daniel Montoya, signing off.
This program was produced and brought to you by SpartanSound Productions. Special thanks to our guests, Mrs. Marlene Thomas, Dr. David Farkas, and student panelists Chanel Shelton, Abiswa Cardenas, Elisa Maciel, Samantha Osuna. We'd also like to recognize our production team, Daniel Montoya and Soren Dorantes, Dr. Thomas Tacky, creator and director of SpartanSound Productions, the administration of Central Union High School and the Central Union High School District, and to you, the listeners.